my concern right now, and I think I speak for a lot of Americans, is Elon Musk.
How can we be represented by you if you don't have a voice in Congress?
I'm a registered Republican voter and retired active Army officer. How can you tell me that DOGE, with some college whiz kids from a computer terminal in Washington, D.C., without even getting out into the field, after about a week or maybe two, has determined that it's okay to cut veterans' benefits?
When are you going to wrest control as the Congress back from the executive and stop hurting your constituents?
Are you willing to use your subpoena power to say, Musk, come in here, stand in front of Congress, and answer some hard questions?
When will you stand up to them and say that is enough?
We could have gone on and on. That was just a sampling of what's happening. You know what? We should go on and on. Let me do some more. This is sound from Wisconsin.
I saw you on TV.
We're going to pull up more. There is more of that. And the point is, you don't have to look very far. Here it is. Here's what's happening in Wisconsin.
President Trump has issued a lot of executive orders. I think by and large this is moving very quickly compared to other administrations, and I think across the board he's done some very good things. I think he's gotten rid of birthright citizenship.
Illegal as hell.
Boos from Republicans for Republicans. And as I said, there's more. Republicans in Congress are right now facing voters in their own party and Democrats and independents who are very angry when they go home to their neighborhoods and communities and home districts. It comes after Elon Musk's slashing of the federal government programs and workforce, imperiling jobs and programs, and in some cases subsidies that their constituents have come to rely on, and rapidly intensifying and concentrating all of the power in America's system of government inside the Oval Office. The New York Times is reporting that one constituent of Texas Republican Congressman Pete Sessions cautioned him at a recent town hall by saying this, quote, "I like what you're saying, but you need to tell more people. The guy in South Africa is not doing you any good. He is hurting you more than he's helping you," he added, referring to Musk. Trump on Friday was asked about the bubbling grassroots outrage over Trump and Musk's policies. Here's what he had to say.
Some members of Congress in red districts are facing pushback from voters in town halls. They don't like the work of Elon Musk and these other actions. What do you say to them?
Who do you work for?
I work for ABC News, sir.
No wonder. Let me just tell you that I have today the highest poll numbers I've ever had. I have today the highest poll numbers of any Republican president ever.
Trump to Republican voters, eat it. Joining our conversation, MSNBC columnist, author of the newsletter To the Contrary, Charlie Sykes. Also joining me at the table, distinguished political scholar and professor at Princeton University, MSNBC political analyst Eddie Glaude. Charlie Sykes, it has not just echoes of the Tea Party, but all the makings of a movement that is grassroots. And once it burns completely out of control of any Republican leaders.
I was thinking the exact same thing. That scene you had from Glenn Grothman's town hall meeting was interesting because Glenn represents a very Republican district, and I can tell you that those scenes are not typical. That's not the kind of reception he's used to getting. But also, he's been around in politics enough to remember back in 2009 when, in fact, the first bubbling up of the Tea Party was in town hall meetings like this. And I think that what you're going to see is, although initially you're going to have a lot of focus on Elon Musk, if Republicans in Congress move ahead with some of the budget cuts that they are talking about, I think you're going to see this spread rather dramatically, because right now, over the last month, this has been a Washington-based story, and it's about to become a district-level story all across the country. And again, Republican politicians recognize a grassroots movement because they benefited from it in 2009, and it's got to be kind of a strange mirror image watching it turn on them right now.
What's amazing is that this can't be confused with what I think people have been thinking the resistance of Trump's presidency is going to look like. This wasn't in anyone's script. This can't be manufactured. These are Republicans who understand that Trump has already backtracked on the price of eggs by saying, quote, it's hard to make things go down. This is Trump who has backtracked on economic pain by saying people may suffer in the short term. This is Trump doubling down with helping billionaires like Elon Musk and his cohort, and already after 4 weeks saying, I don't know about those things that you voted me to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my mind around it, Nicole. I can't quite understand what direction it's going to go, how the politics will play out, because where do these people go?
Right.
Right. Do they not vote for the Republican representative? Do they vote for a MAGA Republican who runs from the right? Do they vote for a never Trumper? I don't know where they land as a political act after this. And, you know, we've been talking about what will be how will the Bannon-Elon Musk fight cash out? And what I was listening for in a lot of these town halls is that it felt like a Bannon critique in some ways.
A little bit, but I mean, there's something about becoming. There's something about the weakness of it, right? What you hear from them, and again, this to me restores my faith in the ability of information to flow in and out of the silos. And I'm not saying they believe me. I'm not saying these voters are going to turn on MSNBC and take my word for it. But they see Republicans as abdicating their roles. Right. They see them, and they'll render their own judgments. And I agree with you, because these are people that do want people in this country illegally who commit violent crimes deported, right? These are people who do not, they are cheering the executive orders banning trans kids from sports, right? These are not necessarily Harris Biden voters, but they are people who are angry enough at Trump to show up and yell at their Republican members of Congress.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, you know, I think that there's a Bannon strand, right? And then there are folks who are actually kind of calculating the human cost.
Yeah.
Right? That folks, this is not just like a layoff in a particular town. You know, what's happening in Georgia, that's the CDC. 750 probationary workers have been laid off. So it has a local impact. But what I'm trying to think through, though, Nicole, is what does it look like? They supported the deconstruction of the administrative state. I mean, what did they think
that hit their district?
Yeah, so then it turns to, oh, they're selfish. Yeah. So I'm okay with it as long as it happens to them. But once it happens to me and mine, all hell breaks loose. What are you doing? You're hurting us. And so I'm trying to figure out, going back to my first point, I don't know how it cashes out politically, because elements of it seem to be part of the problem.
No.